Ooh, hump day, ladies and gentlemen. You all know this is absolutely my favorite day of the year. Why? Because it's Odin's Day, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Wednesday. Hello, nerds, and welcome to GeekBeast. This is part of the Geekish Network. This is your daily rundown of geek news for geeks that look like you, geeks that look like me, and geeks that look like my man over here, Justin. Justin, one of the lead head Voltron lions on Nerdtastic. My man is a podcaster extraordinaire. He does time hanging out with the Avengers out on Screen Rant and other various formats. He got his stripes, man. How we feeling today, Justin? Welcome to the
I am good, dude. I am good. Which Voltron? Am I like the red lion that's piloting? Am I piloting this like the right hand? Is that like
I'm with the red. I'm with the red. Me personally, I have to be the yellow line because he's all about grubbing out, man. And that's my wheelhouse. I need to be that dude, man.
I understand that, dude.
Hey, man, I'm so happy to have you here. It has been an absolute joy with some of the amazing talent that we've brought here and talking to you behind the scenes. You are part of that amazing talent. So I feel good because I kind of get to just relax and let your expertise take over. If you are new to the show, we cover the Geek News Week and we share our opinions with you. I am your host, Sintel, and we've already had a quick introduction to Justin. Man, is there anything else you want to say to these beautiful fans out here before we jump knee deep into all the madness that is going on in the Geek Kingdom?
I'm good, dude. Let's get going. Let's get rolling.
All right, man. So, what is Amy Schneider for 400? Listen, if you don't know the answer to that, it's all good because this young lady's streak on Jeopardy has ended after 40 games, but she pulled in $1.4 million before she rolled out, man. Are you a Jeopardy fan?
Jeopardy is one of those comfort shows that I'm like, I don't take advantage of until I'm like, right, Jeopardy's on. I'll turn on for like while I'm having dinner and such. Yeah. And let me tell you, man, like I don't know how to place 100 on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
So I that's amazing that she got this far and walked away with 1.4 million. I mean, that's I don't know.
Who's the big winner?
Yeah.
Yes, you're the big winner, Amy. So Schneider's run of 40 win puts her in the number 2 spot in the all-time consecutive victories list behind the one and only Ken Jennings. Now, of course, I have heard of Ken Jennings because not only did he beat 40 games, my man's record is standing at a legendary 74.
Damn.
Schneider's 1.3 million is 4th highest of the all-time regular season cash winning list behind Matt Amito. I think I vaguely remember him, James Halsner, and of course Jennings, who cleared out at $2.5 million. Like, how do you prepare for a life of being a professional Jeopardy player? Like, how does that happen? Like, do you just wake up in the morning and it was like, I'm going to pick a G from the encyclopedia today and just go for broke?
It was like, how long do you spend like gathering up random facts in the possible day of being on Jeopardy? If you decided I'm going to be on Jeopardy, it's like going like, what did you say? I'm going to put that.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. I imagine, of course, I'm making these massive assumptions. I'm imagining that they do walk around with like notepad and paper, and they probably have to be the worst person at the table if you're hanging out with friends. That person, is always correcting you. Well, actually, what is the correct answer is yes, we want some more hors d'oeuvres. Oh my gosh. She said, it's really been an honor, and to know that I'm one of the most successful people at the game I've loved since I was a kid, and to know that I'm part of history now. I just don't know how to process it. Yeah, regardless of how we feel about it, she is in the history books. It's hard for me to be top 4 trash talker at the spades table at grandma's house during Thanksgiving, and she's clearing over here at Jeopardy. It's nuts, man. All right, so hey, speaking of taking chances, Mortal Kombat movie has earned a sequel, and it's already pinned a writer. The writer for Moon Knight is scheduled to do what could be a good movie. I don't know. How does that make you feel about Moon Knight, which hasn't come out yet? And how does that make you feel about Mortal Kombat, which he's already got another gig for?
The writer Jeremy Slater has had. I actually am aware of his career, and he's had a lot of ups and downs on projects that he's been attached to. And I remember hearing that he wrote a draft for what became the 2015 Fantastic Four film. Before you freak out,
Oh.
hold on, hold on.
Let me roll my sleeves up for a second.
There was early word on that script being really good and more in line of an MCU style movie than the
Ah,
thing that we got. And
right.
so we'll see.
Right.
Maybe this will be, like again, we haven't seen Moon Knight, and I know he's fully in charge of that, so we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes.
Mhm.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the last one, so it, it,
Yeah.
it could be an improvement,
There was a lot to be a lot left to be desired. Like my
Mhm.
big question, yo, is where the hell was Johnny at? I need my Johnny
Yeah,
Cage.
that's what
And
we're
how are you gonna
promising.
not have one of the most pivotal characters of the Mortal Kombat universe? And he's just MIA. I
Yeah,
guess he's shooting something. They
I just
did
couldn't.
drop a bit of a go ahead.
Yeah, I know they dropped a bit of a hint of him at the end of that movie.
Right. So I'm
But also,
hoping he
it's weird that a movie called Mortal Kombat, and they talk about the tournament for 2 hours, and the tournament doesn't happen.
Big
It's a
facts, my guy.
it's a weird choice.
Yeah, there was a bit of a liberty as
Yeah.
well regarding having somebody who's not even a part of the original cast be
Hmm.
the star of the show.
Yeah.
I didn't hate him, I just didn't get it.
Right.
It was just it's like when you get like that little green piece of lettuce or whatever it is on your plate. You're not gonna really like put it and just go eat it. It's just there for decoration. It's like I could do without it, but since it's here, I guess the plate is prettier.
You're
I don't
calling
know.
him the parsley of the
Parsley, there we go. He's
calling
like,
him the
yeah, he's
parsley
the
of the.
parsley. He's the parsley of the Mortal Kombat universe.
Uh, I had a joke for the longest time where it's like, remember the old theme song from the first movie where they'll say the names of the character? It's like Scorpion.
Yes.
I had the joke for the longest time. I always want to make this thing where it'd be like Scorpion, Sub Zero, Johnny Cage, Call Young, Luke. Awkwardly edit him in there.
Yo, but if there is like a silver lining in all of this, the trailer for Moon Knight, I'm pretty much all in. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for and especially for if you're not in comic book, if you're not in like a comic book frame of mind, Moon Knight's probably gonna pass you by. It's not like a really big named person. And for those that know really nothing about the legend of Moon Knight, even they were like on Twitter and like, yo, it looks kind of interesting.
Mhm.
Is he Batman? Is he like what's going on? Does he have superpowers? And it's like it's a little bit of everything. Did the trailer move you in any way, shape, or form?
Absolutely, and I'm one of those weirdos that definitely read a decent amount of Moon Knight, and I feel like Moon Knight is such an interesting character because you're right. It's like everyone's asking, is he like Batman? And the answer is kind of. There's more to it than that,
Mm,
and I as a guy who as a fan of this stuff, like I'm actually intrigued by the idea that this is going deep nerdy right now. That
let's go.
of the two identities that Moon Knight identifies with, normally you'd start with Mark Spector, the mercenary. It's
Mm,
interesting that the trailer's saying that we're starting with Stephen Grant, the other one, and he's learning
mhm,
about Mark Spector. And I'm like, well, that's interesting.
mm,
Intriguing. I'm curious about Ethan Hawke. I don't know what's going on
mhm,
with his deal. And I
right.
think the suit looks good. I'm like,
It does. It does. I like the bandage wraps. I thought that was kind of dope.
like
Like the
embracing a
mummified
mummy element
bandages.
because he's an
Yeah.
ancient Egyptian god. I'm like, oh, that's a neat
Mhm.
idea. I'm kind of into that. A little bit of that Netflix tone, maybe. So that he was really wailing on that one creature.
Yeah, he was. You saw his little halved legs twitching with each shot. I was like, come on, man, leave him alone. He's already dead. I'm like, yo, you are really destroying this guy.
Yeah.
A moment of there was a cast member that had recently passed away who
Oh
was going to
yes.
be. think, one of the antagonists of the movie, I
Hmm.
believe. So I am hoping that that individual gives a legendary performance.
Yeah,
Give a good farewell, and then and then to be remembered into your work. I know it's a quick moment of being somber, but I just want to see a good performance from him.
agreed.
And let's hope that this is a gem so that we can be even more excited about Mortal Kombat. We'll see how that
We'll
goes.
see how that goes. Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
yeah. Speaking of let's seeing how something goes, the Tesla Cybertruck has been delayed yet again. So Elon is saying maybe next year. His excuse is, he's saying that he said if they were introducing the vehicles, their total vehicle output would decrease. Are you buying it? I mean, there are some shortages going on in the world, and
Right.
Tesla is in demand. And how is this moving you?
I mean, like, that's not entirely wrong about supplies. That's no, like we're all feeling that. That's 100% true. I it's like I feel like first the Cybertruck alone makes me laugh as a concept because I remember seeing that footage and seeing that presentation, and my reaction was like, I could have sworn I had a GI Joe car like that as a kid. And you're telling me this is a real vehicle that'll be out in
He's all
public
in.
that I'm gonna think looks like I'm gonna be chased by like Cobra. You know?
Oh man, it's funny that you said that. I never put those two and two together, but I remember Cobra's tank. It had those same angles, and it had the tread on it and
Right?
stuff. Yeah, I do remember that. That's a really strong comparison. But like Cobra, just like stormtroopers that can't hit a damn thing when they fire. Elon Musk can't seem to hit his deadlines. I'm hoping that they're working on the durability of it because we
Right.
saw during his last press conference, and he was like, "And it's slightly like bulletproof," and then he like threw a rock at it, and
Yeah.
glass went all over the place.
Shattered the whole it's like what he's actually spending time will be available next year is the missile launcher attachment, the wing attachment, and don't forget the ever powerful bazooka that you can put on top of it.
If you act quick, it comes with kung fu grip.
It's like a robot hand coming out. You know? Well, hell,
Oh
if
man.
all that's available, put my pre-order in now. Let's do it.
Somebody had asked Elon, like, so how are we going to make the Cybertruck more affordable? He said the
Yeah.
Cybertruck had originally had a starting price of $39,000, which is roughly like 40 stacks. We'll just say 40 at the unveiling in 2019.
Mhm.
But he was also asked about the availability of a $25,000 electric car, to which he responded, "We are not currently working on this $25,000 car." So Elon's telling everybody, y'all can kick rocks. You're either going to pay what all this is going to be, or you're not going to have it. We're not we're not worried about any of you. They asked him how Tesla, if Tesla plans to sell more cars without a more affordable option plan, to which Musk responded, "The price of our cars do not change at all. We will still sell all that we can make." That's
That is
it seems a
very.
little assholey. It seems assholey a little bit to me. It's like, well, you're gonna pay. I'm not worried about y'all.
Ugh. Like,
Are
all
you a
right,
Tesla
well,
fan?
I, I, if well, I'll be real. I would love an electric vehicle at some point, for sure. And yes, Teslas are kind of like the number one in the public eye. So look, I wouldn't be mad at owning one. Of course,
Of course not.
of course not. Like look, I mean, it would be nice if you know. And I know I was making fun of the Cybertruck, but look, if but the durability would certainly be great, right? In 2 years top, and
2025, maybe, hopefully
maybe.
24.
So I appreciate what they're doing, and at the very minimum,
Mhm.
I'll say about Tesla is that do you remember a documentary a decade ago called "The Death of the Electric Car"?
I do remember that. And they had them joints in the museum, and they had the
Yeah,
engines taken out. Like GM came and was like, "Nah, we're not giving away this tech. You're gonna get the
but
shell." Okay, but I do remember that. Yeah.
yeah, okay, so then, like, I'm kind of glad. I'm not saying it's entirely on Tesla or Musk, but I will say that the popularity of Teslas are reviving that thought of electric vehicles, and not only that, making them cool to everyone else. So, at the minimum, I will give Tesla that credit of helping to make the idea of the electric car not only like a decent a good idea for your vehicle of choice, but a cool idea for
Mhm.
your vehicle of choice, especially when the Cybertruck comes out with its robotic legs that you can go mountain climbing on.
Yo, it's only a
2028,
matter of
baby.
time. Yo, it's coming. It's coming. You've already seen that they've already created two versions of the Tesla ATVs. They
Yeah,
got the adult model and the kids model, and those are almost ready to go. They've already put like the Roadster on the back burner. It's like I
yeah,
don't know what you're trying to do, man. You doing a lot. And
yeah.
speaking of doing a lot, his other program, SpaceX, yo, my man is slamming rockets into the moon. So it's scheduled to hit relatively soon. And what I'm saying is not a joke. I am not giving like a hot a hot topic off of Don't Look Up. A Falcon 9 second stage has been tumbling uncontrollably in space since 2015. But experts says its 7-year journey is coming to an end as the 4-ton rocket part is expected to hit the moon in a matter of days. This is really close to that moon is about to fall from the sky movie that I can't stop seeing the trailers for all over the place. What is it
Oh
called? Sky
god,
is falling,
Moonfall.
moonfall,
Yeah.
moonfall, or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, like it's
Oh,
Halle Berry. This is actually a long. Well, you actually don't know. This is actually years in promotion for that film. See,
yeah, they're
that's
playing the long game.
they're playing the long game. The director of Moonfall contacted Musk and went, "Hey, in around 2022, I'm gonna get this movie coming out. What do you got for me, man?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just so happens to shoot a rocket."
Exactly, exactly. And the Moon Man and the Teslas, the guy in the Tesla, the robot in the Tesla is going to be straight. Yo, Elon is like he might not be able to hit a deadline to save his damn life. He can sure hit the moon. So there's a bit of a talent in that, I guess. I mean,
That
it's
is a
still,
that is kind of actually. It's like I'm not. It's what is that Anchorman? It's like I'm not mad. I'm impressed. It's like no, you like missed 8 deadlines, but you did hit the moon. Not many.
but you
I can't
did
say
hit the
that.
moon.
I'm
Yo,
not
for
second
real.
place in Jeopardy, and I didn't hit the moon with a rocket. So
That's what I'm saying. Yo, my man did on a whim what hundreds of NASA's best in the 60s with the power of a pocket calculator had to work night and day to do. He did it on a just hit the moon today. Why not? I mean, I ain't got nothing better to do. I'm gonna leave a mark somehow. This dude, boy,
no
let me tell
kidding.
you.
He's
So
gonna leave
yeah,
a giant dent.
so if you are asking, the it's scheduled to hit. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I lost myself in the notes. So for those asking, yes, the Falcon 9 second stage is scheduled to hit the moon on March 4th.
Wow.
But according to the article, even though it's going to be moving at something like 2 miles a second, I forgot how fast it is, like 2.58 kilometers per second, which is roughly about 1.6 miles per second. That's really fast.
Yeah.
Even though it's that big and moving that fast, we are still going to be too far away to actually see the impact.
Mhm.
And unless you have like a super high powered telescope, but that would be an interesting global event to see something man-made absolutely leave a big gigantic dirt plume on the moon. Yo, the best marketing would have to come from the people from DBZ. Just show like Goku shooting a Kamehameha somewhere, and then like end the last frame with like the poof on the moon. That would have been absolutely perfect.
I would pay for. I would. I'm not gonna lie. I would in fact pay for that event. Is that like?
Ah,
Is that a Fathom event? Can we do that? Can I see that in
ah,
IMAX? That'd be great.
a boy can dream. Absolutely. Hey, okay. So speaking of dreaming and missed deadlines, oh, these segues have just been beautiful lately.
Just leaking
So
it up.
Valve Valve is actually going to potentially meet a deadline, and they're going to start selling their Steam Deck roughly around February 25th.
Mhm.
So, in case you don't know, the Steam Deck is Valve's big project regarding streaming games from your PC onto a handheld device that you can take with you and have your whole catalog of computer games on a handheld device. A lot of people are asking questions regarding on if this is going to be possible. What's the battery life going to be? What's the graphics going to be? It's going to be fully upgradable. Some of those have been answered, but still everybody's just waiting to actually get the unit in hand. Were you even interested?
Not really, honestly. I'm not even. I'll play my card out right now. I'm not even the biggest video game person.
Okay.
So like, something like this, honestly, I wasn't even like thinking that's something I need. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
How about you?
Here's my thing. Just because uh I want to play in the black market a little bit, I just ordered one to see maybe I can sell it for markup. I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. It's me. I'm the problem, ladies and gentlemen. It's me. It's me. I claim
Oh,
it. No, no,
well,
I
at
I
least you
will.
told us. At least you're honest.
Yeah, yeah. They're saying that if you did put your order in, that's going to be relatively safe, but you will only be able to get the order that you previously reserved, and they're going to have like a 3-day window for the initial selling of the product, and then after that, you won't necessarily lose your place, but you'll have to wait. I think a little bit, like maybe later parts of March, if I remember right.
It
Saying that
yeah, go ahead. Mm,
yeah, so Valve is saying that orders placed on the 25th will start shipping out on the
mm.
28th. So that's really close. It's only like a month or so away.
I mean,
I
even if
heard
I was
rumors.
what's that? What's that?
Oh no, no, please, please. No,
Well,
I
no.
was just saying I had heard rumors that we may not have been able to see it because of just the production line shortages and product shortages and
Right.
shipping shortages and everything else. That we might not have been able to potentially see it until like the summer and maybe late fall. So hearing this is very comforting.
Well, that's kind of good. I mean, like, I kind of agreed at the idea of like waiting till someone has a unit in hand to do a
Mhm.
review on it to see if it actually, if any of that, if it translates to a portable device. I almost feel like, unless I'm so into like Valve and the Steam, I can't really right now imagine myself like, well, I'm gonna blindly dump a bunch of money on this device.
Right. Right.
Like, especially like it's not like it's on a Nintendo or a Microsoft thing where they have a history of delivering what they potentially could deliver. But this,
That's very true.
so this is a very much like, okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, you're very true on that. Buyer beware. Being the first one out the door on a new product is very rarely a good idea. I remember when PlayStation 2 dropped, I was like one of the very first people to get in that first gen. They had a lot of problems, and I was a part of the problem pack. But I didn't learn my lesson. And I think like when the 4 came out, I was like one of the first early adopters. Same thing. So take it from me as somebody um, who got burned but was able to get a replacement really quickly. Getting replacements now for anything that's dealing with silicon is going to be very difficult. So buyer beware. If it breaks, you may not be able to get another one for quite some time.
Hmm.
Um, Yo, speaking of broken, some of these remakes going over and over again. The live action Snow White may have some issues, and Tyrion Lannister himself, aka Peter Dinklage, is upset over the remake and over dwarf stereotypes within that remake. He brings up a pretty interesting point, and I'm going to
Yeah.
just briefly summarize. He brings up the point that people were really heralding Snow White for having a woman of Latin descent, of Latino
Hmm.
descent, if I'm correct,
Hmm.
playing Snow White, but wasn't brave enough to break the stereotypes regarding little people.
Yeah.
And in case you've just never been read a fairy tale in your life, the dwarves are often depicted by really really small people. They had a newer version of Snow White where they didn't have dwarves. I'm trying to make sure I'm socially correct on saying the correct things. Dwarves,
Hmm.
as far as they're concerned in the story, and then I think the Little People's Association felt that they were having an opportunity taken away from them and compared it to blackface to as a way of giving like reference to the seriousness of it. So you
Yeah.
got one group saying we should do this, and we have Peter Dinklage saying that we need to change it up.
Hmm.
Um, it's hard to win in a socially conscious time. I don't know how you fix that, man.
I yeah, no, this is what's interesting is, like, look, he's not wrong for bringing any of this up,
Mhm.
and I even feel for him when he's, pointing out the fact that, like, like, cuz Dinklage has been the exception of in terms of actors with of his situation, and the
Right,
idea that, like, yeah, he's gone to the point where you hire Peter Dinklage cuz he's good. You
right,
know,
yeah,
that's why you hire him. You don't. It's like, oh, do we need a little person for the role? It's like, not required for him now. He's
yeah,
moved past that, and I can see when he says, like, is my work did my work mean nothing now that
mhm.
you're progressive on one thing and you're aggressive on this other thing? Like, what happened here? And I think he's on the right for kind of calling out Disney, going, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and to quote him, he says, "You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the fuck are you doing? Have you done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox?" He said, "I
Yeah.
guess I'm not loud enough." So that's gonna put a fire under his ass and maybe get some
Mhm.
some stuff done. And I think something may be done because we're still in pre-production. So Disney issued a statement in response, and they said to avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we're taking a different approach with these seven characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. So at least they're not pretending that they don't hear them. It's not falling on deaf ears.
Yeah. It's it does beg the question though, right? It's like,
Mhm.
do we need you guys to make this movie? You know what I mean? Like, is this
Mhm.
this I mean, we all know why they're making this movie. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um but do we need you guys to make this movie? And I feel like the original film, the 1937 film, was made in a time and a place, you know. You respect
Mhm.
it for what it added to cinema history,
Right.
but making it a live action film, it kind of almost takes the point of the what's so historical about it. It's the first full length animated movie, and it seems weird to celebrate that you're making it a live action movie and kind of taking the point out of it.
Yeah, yeah, not all everything translates well. I mean, we've seen a live action variation of The Lion King, and that was a
Yeah,
miss, ladies and gentlemen. So
hard miss.
some things need to be relatively left alone. There is one other smaller little topics. I know we got just a little bit of time before we change gears, and this isn't in our notes, so I'm gonna kind of be shooting from the hip on this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this is regarding Netflix and their introduction to what is being called Netflix Golden. Now, from the brief introduction that I've had, it's like
Twitter
a Twitter
account.
account. It's a
Yeah.
Twitter account that is going to focus on the Asian diaspora and the culture as a whole regarding content that will be relative to the Netflix platform.
Hmm.
But there may be a little hitch in the giddy up regarding it's taking off. Maybe you can express a little bit more detail.
Yeah, I kind of like well, we kind of found this that while they're happy to promote this new, social media side account that's representative of the Asian American stuff, the content they have on Netflix. In the trailer, a certain community did clearly notice that they were not included in any of the footage, and that's the Filipino community,
Mm,
which I'm a
mm,
part of. I'm Filipino, and yeah, if there's anything about being Filipino, our community feels consistently like we're being left out of the mainstream conversation in
mm,
terms of media representation. And so, rightfully so, that like that trailer kind of was getting called out by a lot of folks in the Filipino community,
mm.
pointing out like, "Hey, again, you seem to forget us." And that's the conversation that's being had within since the announcement.
So it's one of those situations where it's like it's a good idea but poor execution. It's just like we need to just be a little bit more sensitive and make sure we are as inclusive as possible.
Yeah, and it's also again another statement, the fact that even though Netflix, let's be clear, Netflix has Filipino content. They do. They have Filipino content. There are Filipino films. There are Filipino American films in Netflix. All they had to do was just contact an actor from one of those projects. Hey, shoot a real quick thing. We'll include it in the trailer. And the fact that they glossed it over and didn't consider it just shows once again why we feel misrepresented. And like we have guys. Here's a big one on Netflix. Joe Coy. Joe Coy, huge at the moment, and he has extreme amounts of popular Netflix stand-up shows, and he's not included in this
trailer. That's a very good point.
Very odd.
Yeah, so we do. You guys definitely need some better consulting regarding good ideas. Some better consulting regarding it.
Yeah.
Well, here's unfortunately the good idea of this particular stream has to come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. It went by so quick, man. I had such an amazing time with you, Justin. Please shout out your socials. How's the best way that the people can reach you, man?
This was a blast, by the way. This was a lot of fun, man. I will say you can find me on Instagram at Justin Quiz, Twitter at Justin Quizon. TikTok, I'm on TikTok as well. I do a lot of movie discussions on TikTok, and I'm on that account as just at Justin Quiz. Don't forget to check out Nerdtastic with me and my co-hosts Patricio and Earl on Sundays. We're gonna come back soon. I also do my monthly podcast called Nothing New, a remake podcast. And I also do another live Twitch stream, which is called Disney Plus Diversity with my co-host Johnny Parker. So those are the multiple amount of things I've been involved in. And dude, this was fun. This was fun doing this with you, man.
Hey, man, I had a ball. I'm looking forward to having you on the show again, brother. This is
absolutely
an absolute slice. Hey, so that is going to conclude the new segment of our show today. Excuse me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, big, huge shout out to you, Justin, and a huge, massive shout out to Digital Click as well. They provide all the creative, all of this stuff, these borders that you see, the name, and everything that's got us looking crispy and beautiful is a product of Digital Click. To quote the immortal Deion Sanders, when I look good, I play good. When I play good, I make money. Listen, when we look good, we give you a good podcast. We give you a good showcase, which means you'll come back. That happens with Digital Click. That's why you got to hit them up. GeekBeast is also now a podcast in podcast form as well. So if you missed our live stream, it's no worries. You can listen to us and follow day on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. For me, I love taking these long walks, put my podcast in my ear, and I keep it moving. You can do that with us as well. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at /The Geekish Network. Like us on Facebook, of course, on YouTube as well. Hit that like button, click the subscription button. If you haven't clicked the subscription button, what are you doing? Do that right now. Why we got this moment connected? Hit that subscription button. Of course, you get us on Twitch. It's still live, but we're also doing game streams, charity streams, cooking streams. If you do have a Amazon Prime account, you can use that and link to us and sub to us using your Prime Gaming. It costs you nothing, but it helps us out tremendously. One of the beautiful things on our Twitch stream are our charity streams. We'll be getting that back up and running. Tons of fun. You can actually see us doing headshots for humanity. Oh my God, I messed my own joke up, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. But the beautiful thing is that the show's not gonna stop. We're keeping it moving. We got binge-worthy up on deck coming up. I got my man, Johnny Randolph, and the absolutely amazing Courtney. She is about to hop in here, and we are going over a very interesting show called Super Crooks, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're not familiar with Super Crooks, go ahead.
So I should get going then.
Oh, no, you can come in here and hang out. We're going to do like a little bit of a cross-chat, cross-talk a little bit before we do the full transition. It kind of like warms everybody up. And not only that, I want the whole gang to meet you.
Hello.
Sorry, Court, I don't know if you're on screen. Huh? See everybody, is the gang all here? Everybody's here?
We here. I don't know if we're on the
Hi,
streaming.
hi.
Oh yeah, I am not up on the YouTube, so I cannot see the live stream. Unfortunately,
Yeah, we're not on the live
all right.
stream. I don't think.
All right. Well, in the meantime, let's go ahead and ask a couple of real questions while the man in the sky puts everything together. So we, we're always talking about the hot news, and we had a little bit of some social conscious drama regarding some Disney products. There's also John Leguizamo, who's kind of been like, pretty vocal about some of the problems he's had getting casting because he was afraid of getting too dark as a Latino Latino actor. Colorism is a very real thing. This man went as far as to not even go outside, not go to the beach, hang out with people in the sun because he didn't want to risk missing an opportunity. As people of color that are in the entertainment business, how has that affected you in your rise to fame and notoriety?
I'm gonna let Courtney handle that one because I'm not auditioning for roles.
I mean, colorism is definitely a thing. It's always been a thing, Black women, from the color of your skin to the way your hair, it's always been something of a problem, and it ebbs and flows, it all depends on basically whatever they're looking for right now, if they've deemed is the desirable look. In terms of John Leguizamo, I did just read that about him, and when I read that, I was so sad. I was so heartbroken because even for like to hear that Latino actors have that as well, like that's something that I was unaware of. I mean, I did know that depending on like if they had like certain whether or not like you're Cuban or you're Dominican or that, you know what I mean? Like that's definitely clear to me. But like in terms of, just actors who are like Puerto Rican, I would love to hear from like Eva Longoria or Sofia Vergara. Like what was their experience, even like Pedro Pascal, like it's just a crazy thing.
Another way to discriminate against people, which is not cool at all.
Well, yeah, because it's really an opportunity to just keep things white, like keep things as white as possible. Even the concept that what Peter Dinklage was talking about in terms of like Disney redoing Snow White. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, really? Snow White? This is the one you want to do? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's legitimately, it says in the title, Snow White. She's white as the driven snow. And so you cast a Latina actress because you think, what? It's diversity. It's just a diversity hire. And then you pick a girl who's extra fair skin, who's basically playing white. You just cast a Latina actress and she's playing white. So she's passing.
Okay.
And to Peter Dinklage's credit, I love what he said, and I love that he challenged Disney. Like, what are we doing? Why are you perpetrating this stereotype? Continuing to bring up the idea of 7 dwarfs who live in a cave? Like, really? He's like, his line when he was like, "Have I done nothing?" He's like, "Have I done nothing?"
Right, talk your ish, Peter. Talk it, man.
I mean, get it. I was so happy he said that. I love hearing people speak out and like call it as they see it.
Yeah.
All right. To shift to a little bit of lighter news, unless anybody else want to jump on there, just in or.
Okay. Shift away from the heavy.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No,
I'm all down with the heavy, but I just want to.
You want to end on a high.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a hot topic. Is everybody watching the Book of Boba Fett? We're not having any spoilers.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
Yes.
Everybody caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
I mean,
I didn't see yesterday's
watched
episode.
this current.
Okay,
episode.
that's why we're not doing any spoilers.
I watched this current episode. I am not caught up because I've not been a fan of the episodes that I have seen thus far. I watched the first 2 and I watched half of episode 3 and just was like, I'm good. I'm gonna wait until somebody makes me watch it for the podcast. So when Centel was like, you need to watch this new episode, I was like, why? Every single episode that I've watched has been trash.
Yeah.
What? Why? And he was like, just trust me. You're gonna want to watch this one. And I was like, do I need to watch all the other ones? Because I'm not watching those to catch up because I don't feel like it.
I've seen all 5 of them so far, so I'm caught up.
Okay.
I do agree that this was a solid episode. It was a solid turn. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not gonna give no spoilers or anything like that. I'm just it was cool, you know.
I don't want to get too many spoilers, but I found it weird. The best episode about Boba Fett's not in it.
To me,
found that too.
Without any spoilers, it felt like like we're watching. You know how like you're watching Fast and the Furious, and you're in a race, and you're kind of losing, and you got to hit the NOS. You know, this episode felt like a NOS boost because
interesting.
Because they knew they were losing people.
Yeah, it's definitely not Mando. It's not Mando. It's not the Mandalorian. It's a different thing in its own own world, and it just may not be up to par for a lot of viewers. But this was a hell of a NOS boost, and I'll say that, like a hell of a one.
No, and I mean,
Chase. No, go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I'll say no, all good. Like, because I'll bolt out so you guys can just have your show without my ass here. But but I feel like I my feelings on the show has been at the minimum it's fine. And like,
it's like lukewarm,
it's lukewarm. I'm not in love with it like I was in love with Mandalorian, but I find it fine, a little bit slow, but I'm going with it. And I'm intrigued by the interest of the talk I've been hearing for the last episode. And look, we're almost done with it. It's almost out of here. So
yeah, there's like one more, right? There's like one more.
I think it's 2 more. I think it's 7 in total.
Yeah, I do feel it's interesting that like I feel like whatever the expectation this show had, it's probably unrealistic. And I definitely contributed to the expectation of it. Like Mandalorian blew me away. I loved season 1 and 2. Now you're doing a show literally about the most popular, extended character. Because he only had one line in my brain, he's an extended character that's popular in the comics and the cartoons. So the idea that this show was going to have a lot going up against it, and I'm kind of not shocked that the reaction has been, that, you know what I mean? And I understand that, and I'm not in love with it either. I'm not, but I'm not hating where I'm at. But I can see I'm right here with it. This is where I was at with Mandalorian, and nearly to tears on that last episode of season 2. Here I'm at with Boba, and I'm like, okay. But I like. On side note, I like Fennec. I like Fennec because I like.
Yeah, Ming-Na Ming-Na can do. No, she's right up there with Michelle Yeoh. They're like 2 actresses that I will always show up for, and she's the only reason that I am going to finish Boba Fett. I am just. It's one of those things where it's like it's watching me because I'm on my phone and I'm just catching highlights. I'm just looking up every now and then. If there's like a little pop, I'm like, oh, what was that? No, nothing. And I go back to my phone. You know what I mean? Like if you cannot get me out of a book or my phone, or you're just happening in the background. It's not you're not doing your job.
Lucasfilm got to be held responsible for like the expectations. You dropped like the season finale with Luke coming in, kicking ass, young Luke, trashing everything and throwing Jedis. And you do that, you set yourself up for all your subsequent seasons. Your subsequent shows that gotta to have to be up to par. Point. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, So we leave with Luke taking Grogu off to train him to be a Jedi, and then you come out with your next season, or not your next season, but your next series. We like so this is what Lucasfilm is doing. Okay, we in, and then you kind of give us, like you said, Boba Fett's legendary for having one line. He's dropped off into the tank, and we like, oh, okay, let's see what we got here. And it's kind of like, meandering along, and he's in there with sand people, and we're like, why do we have to care about the sand people? And it's
sand
it's
people that you're
things.
trying to rewrite. I said this before. I don't know if we were on when I said this. You're trying to give them a redo. You want to redo their image, just like you want to change Boba Fett's shit from the slave one. So now you're trying to revamp these Tusken warriors who assaulted and kidnapped Anakin Skywalker's mama. Okay, they tortured her. Okay, you can't fix that. You can't tell me it was another tribe. No, sir. That's what I think about those people. We can't fix that. Now, the next piece, that's my number one problem. Boba Fett is a bounty hunter.
And he's a villain. Yeah.
No. He's a bounty hunter. He has not collected one bounty. Not one. Not one. He is sitting on a rock trying to reinvent himself as the show is trying to reinvent everything. No, man. The reason people love Boba Fett is because he's a bounty hunter. We want to see him do the thing that he was doing.
Well, and that's what they
showed up for.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, right? That's what they made. That's what Mandalorian was, right? They did. The Mandalorian show was the Boba Fett show that we thought we were going to get.
Right.
And then Boba Fett showed up. And so instead they made a political crime show that's okay.
And it's not even that Bubba's kind of soft.
On Tatooine. Yeah, it's like the Sopranos on Tatooine.
Which I would be cool with if Bubba wasn't so soft. Like, you're trying to be a mafia leader and you're like kind of soft. You don't have any crew, you don't have any muscle. And it's like, oh, I'm going to be a good person.
That's what happens when you start talk Star Wars talk. Sorry.
Yeah. We're jumping in deep in. So for everybody that has been popping in, thank you. Please stay for binge worthy. Thank you, Justin, for popping in. We are going to be doing Super Crooks. We should be back in like another 5 to 10 minutes. I say somewhere on there. Let's just say a healthy 7. So go ahead and say goodbye to the pretty people, everybody. Yeah, we out of here. Thank you.